Hey, family, welcome back to another episode of I'm Telling You. As always, your host, Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
And good sir, please tell the audience how they can reach us.
Well, if you want to reach us, you got to hit us up at I'm Telling You at directionsinmusic.org. That's IMTELLINYOU at directionsinmusic.org.
Well done. Thank you.
Word.
I appreciate the assist.
I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. And for those of you first-time listeners, this is a 30-year friendship of us just kind of chopping it up on the same conversation over and over and over again because, you know, we can't come to a conclusion, I guess.
Can't make any promises on where it's going to go. It's
We make no promises.
No.
Yeah, no. But yeah, that's what we do. We just, movie quotes, music quotes. We try to be serious. We get philosophical. Sometimes the antics come out and the tangents are just all over the place, but that's what we do. So, hey, welcome. I hope you enjoy yourselves because, we do, so you might as well.
Yep.
And was it you? You can either laugh with us, laugh at us, or we'll laugh for you. That's what we do.
I'll laugh for you whenever I can.
And I appreciate that. I really do.
Do you? Do you really?
Yeah, I do. Because like you said, sometimes, you don't...
Sometimes you don't appreciate the fact that you need laughter at that moment.
I mean, I guess, I don't know.
So I provide that for you.
Ready? Good. Yeah, this is, also first-time listeners is what we do. We crack beers to let you know this is us.
So sorry.
Oh, I spilled.
Got it all over.
No, just a couple of spots. It's all right. We got a towel and stuff. It's all right. This is what happens when you do stuff live, right? You make mistakes. You dribble things. Well, I guess I do. It's all right. We're allowed, This is our show. We can do whatever we want.
It's not enough to be considered alcohol abuse, so I think you're okay.
I mean, it's enough that I think the ants could party, and they'd have a really good time.
They probably would.
I'm sure they would.
They'd be like all passed out on the table.
Yeah, all tortillado, just like, man, like they've been drinking the tequila all night or something.
Hey, man, go over there. Check out.
Dude, give me some of that Corona. Hey, no, that's... Sorry, that was very stereotypical, and I take that back. I apologize.
Wow.
What, did I apologize?
No, I mean, wow. I just got the gravity of all that. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I called myself out. I'm trying to be impeccable with my word, right? I'm doing my best always. It's kind of the thing. At least I think that's the thing that we should be doing.
Should make generalizations like that,
I apologize. Dude, why you got to keep bringing it up?
That was still like 5 seconds ago, man.
Well, at this point, it was 23.
It's always 20.
It was totally 23 seconds ago.
You and your 23. Okay, no, it's cool.
Well, that was that commercial. When they were trying to do like the new internet phone something. I don't know, whatever.
23 seconds ago.
Whatever the cool. I don't know. I'm not into what the cool kids do because I'm not the cool kid. So it's all right.
Clearly.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's obviously that aware. It's everyone is cognizant of it, so I can appreciate that.
Hanging out with me. How cool can you be? All right.
Some self-deprecating humor. I appreciate that. Well, because we were talking about that before, where I think that's like the greater sense of a better humility. Was it the thing I was saying before, where a joke has to have some truth, but it also has to have like some pain. So that's like the funny, and then the again that makes it the funny is
right, but not to cross that line where it's actually painful now.
It's horrific.
That's not funny.
Yeah, no, that's well, I guess that would be like self-defecating. You're just like shitting all over yourself, whether it's verbal or not.
You're just a mess. Get off the stage.
Yeah, pretty much. Somebody get the hook. Just take them.
Get a mop.
Get a mop. Mop it up. Back. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's. I think that is a greater sense of humility because if you can really own your what could be considered a fault, even though you should never see those as faults, maybe just like spots to like learn or grow. But if you can take those components and just laugh at them, I think that's an easy way to grow from stuff.
Sometimes you need to.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times we need to.
Like sometimes when you find yourself in a situation and you realize that you put yourself exactly where it is that you are. And like you can't be mad at anybody else, and so you're just like, all right, yep, that was a lesson I needed to learn.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, it's just if we can see it as such. So that's why being able to extend it to that point where now we can like laugh at ourselves. Yeah, that's that deprecating component.
Hopefully not defecating.
Well, I mean, depends on what kind of verbiage you're using, I guess. What level of
just being nasty.
Hey, sometimes you got to do that.
You got to let it all out, man.
It do what it do, baby.
Shout. Let it all out. Date myself, sir.
That was hilarious.
Nobody wants to date you.
Now you're just quoting me.
I know.
That's all right.
That's fun. That's what I do.
That was that Tears for Fears. You did that, didn't you?
Yeah. It was Tears for Fears.
Yeah. What was their other big hit?
You put me on the spot.
No, was it something about the wolf? No, what the heck was that? I don't know. That was like what, 1984?
Hungry Like the Wolf. What?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. You do Tears for Fears was like a thing for a while, wasn't it?
Tears for Fears was pretty cool.
It was.
What? Everything has its moment. I don't know. Everything has its time. I listen to all kinds of music. No problem with that.
There's everything right with
There's
it.
everything right with that.
See, you're slowly coming over to the dark side. Yeah, we have cookies and free beer.
On the dark side?
Of course. Why do you think people come over to the dark side? They're like, wait, cookies, free beer? Is that a thing? You're like, yeah, cookies, free beer, totally a thing. Oh yeah, totally.
I don't understand. I thought it was supposed to be the light side. Why is it the dark side?
Well, because you're probably, from eating all the cookies and drinking the beer, you're going to take like hardcore coma. That's what I'm saying. You're just going to pass out from that.
I'm the tangent person. Oh.
No, I'm just being honest. I mean, that's the dark side. You asked for the understanding, and that's my understanding.
Cookies and beer.
Totally make you pass out.
Do you like dip the cookies in the beer or
sometimes? Depends on the cookie beer combo.
Like if it's an Oreo, does it have to be a milk stout?
Well, but again, it depends on the combo, and it's up to the individual's palate. I don't know what you're going to be into.
Like you can't dip Vienna fingers in that. That's a dark ale.
Maybe
that's wrong.
I mean, me personally, I like a nice bowl of ice cream with like a nice lager. It just goes well. Yeah, man. Well, because they do like beer floats. So instead of it being root beer, it's actually like beer and ice cream.
You ever heard of that beer flavored ice cream?
That's just gross. Somebody
actually invented that. I don't know.
No, I want to mix it on my own ratio. I don't want you to tell me what it's supposed to be.
That would just be weird at that.
That's what I'm saying.
Beer flavored ice cream. That just sounds. Ugh.
I had coffee flavored ice cream one time with a dessert, and I forget the exact combo, but I'm not a big coffee person. But that ice cream with the way the dessert was done was like, all right, you know what? That was kind of nice. Like I could actually, like, not just like, oh, it's good, I could eat it, but I might order that again.
Yeah. What, coffee flavored?
Well, because again, it was the whole dessert. So the ice cream that accompanied the whole component was coffee flavored.
Okay. So it was, you don't remember the rest of the creation, or you're just kind of throwing that in there?
Yeah,
it's coffee flavored.
I totally.
Normally you don't like coffee flavored?
Kind of, yeah. And plus, I'm not going to take the time to actually attempt to recall what the dessert was.
No, but
I'm not in that place right now.
Just the one time you remembered that coffee ice cream was okay because it was worked into the...
It was done correctly.
Into the whole idea of the dessert. Like it kind of brought it together, I guess.
Yeah, it paired well. It complemented. It was...
I see.
Yeah, correct choices.
But, you know, certain things just don't equate. Like coffee works. You know, vanilla, coffee, chocolate, you know, a lot of fruits, you know, that's fine. But
the two fruits,
you know, beer, it's just like, it'd be like broccoli. Like I don't have a problem with broccoli, and I don't really necessarily have a problem with ice cream, but you put them to, ugh.
No, broccoli ice cream sounds horrible.
Like, why would you do that?
That's not a thing.
And would it be broccoli cheese ice cream? Or would that would just be even worse.
You're really, really grossing me out right now.
But these kind of things exist out there. I'm putting it out there.
Not that I'm aware of. Where are you shopping?
No, I heard about that. Like, I don't know.
Was it on the internet? Because
it's always true, dude. Stop picking on me. If it's on the internet, it's true. Is that wrong?
I'm pretty sure that's not how that works.
No. Oh, okay. So I actually have to vet information?
I mean, I can't just trust a .com. I don't understand. Why can't I just do that?
I mean, I believe in Dr. Dre. I mean, he's a doctor.
I can't just like look up iknoweverything.com and it's just going to be right. Like that's not a thing. I can't Facebook this and it's going to give me the right info.
Is that a thing?
No.
I know everything.com.
Probably. Isn't there like pictures of myprettykitty.com?
Somebody's been looking that up at some point. I haven't looked it up yet.
They're probably doing it right now. It's okay. Like, I want to see it myself.
I know everything.com because if there isn't, I want to have it. It's going to be mine. That's a high standard to hold yourself to, though, wouldn't it be?
Well, again, we're talking about on the internet. And there's a certain level of dishonesty. So, yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah.
I know everything.com. It could be all just like kitty pictures and stuff.
I know a Nigerian prince that needs help right now.
That's true. I got that letter, too.
Yeah, he's also having some problems with his insurance, and he wants me to get my warranty renewed.
Okay.
I just listed like every scam known to mankind right there.
Just bundle them all together. It was a bundle. You can get yourself a bundle there.
Well, it's the appropriate selling package. If they don't buy the first one, then you go to the second one. And if that's still nothing, then you just kind of keep moving.
And keep ramping it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Before you know it, you have back taxes to the IRS, and then yeah, that's how that works.
Right, but if you send $5,000 right now, you can free all my assets and you can keep them all for yourself.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, he was telling me the same thing. I'm still waiting.
Yeah. Well, with the internet, it just takes time because then you can communicate. It's just waiting for it to go back and forth. Yeah.
It's like that in the sweepstakes. Just wait on the sweepstakes.
The sweepstakes. Where's Ed McMahon when you need him?
It's just Ed McMahon's got to show up at my door. That's what I need.
It's either that or exhibit. Depends. It's like I'm either getting a check or my car's getting pimped. I'm not sure which. Just waiting to see who's up behind that door.
What does that mean, though? Does that mean your car was picked because it's like the best hoopty in the neighborhood, or?
Well, all right. So I actually just watched not that long ago a behind the scenes on that and how they kind of went about it. So there was a few skewed truths about this show.
Truths?
Yeah. Skewed truths.
Skewed truths.
And one of them was all of the houses that they used to like surprise the people from like, oh, this is their house and we're going to pick up their car, rented.
The house was rented?
Well, because it comes down to like insurance and liability and a bunch of other stuff. So as a broadcasting network to try to use like everybody's space and all that stuff, there's just like permits and there's so much like bureaucracy that it's like, it's not worth it to them. Two, the people behind the door get told before exhibit would come out, they're like, hey, somebody's going to knock at the door and it's either going to be like a gift card or it's going to be exhibit.
Right.
So as well as the additional was a lot of the cars, even though they were all like jagged and tore up, were not exactly in that condition prior to. So they like doctored up the cars a little bit further to make them even like more raggedy.
Look worse.
Yeah. So like scuffing them, denting them.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, you got to have,
you got to ham it
the
up.
trauma, I guess.
Yeah. You have to actually paint the verbal picture. It's not a word picture. It's just like, this is the actual picture.
Yeah, that's always been my issue with reality TV, though, because so much of that, like, even if they're calling it real because it's not scripted per se,
it's always scripted.
Like, there's a lot of stuff going on where they're intentionally putting people in certain scenarios that would make anybody flip, and just kind of cranking this up and cranking that up to see what happens.
To me, it's just a psychological study in a sense.
Sorry.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I appreciate you apologizing for that. That means you're being cognizant of what's going on.
I tried to get out of the way. Sorry.
Well, I mean, eventually I think we'll be at a place where you could actually even push the button and then you can like dump your own stuff.
Dump it. I'll just dump it. Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, dump out my channel. Sorry. It's like pull out the jam, but no.
Right. Yeah, I got that.
You did? Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Dad joke. But
bad joke?
Dad joke.
Bad dad joke.
Well, there's a reason they rhyme, I guess.
Yeah, bad dad.
Yabba dabba do.
Yeah, well, that's what it do, baby.
You do what it do.
Yeah, but yeah,
Dooby-doo.
I have to agree with you on that idea where when they do get scripted, which most of that stuff is to some degree, like you were saying, it may not be the physical words that are being written, but they're going to create the atmosphere or the appropriate variables or constraints that it's just the likelihood to produce this outcome is.
Well, things are pushed in certain directions. That's why they always have characters come back to the show, because they know it brings a certain kind of, like extreme heat between two different rival characters or whatever that have been built up from the last season or whatever they did. It's always this game to try and,
my
one up the excitement factor, the possibility of.
My mind goes to the original voyeur show that was like mainstream, which was like the Real World, because there was a few before that. I think there was like one in the 70s where they were like following a family. I forget the name of that one, but the
original Real World.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah, because it was a psychological study and they were, watching a family and all that kind of stuff. But to me, yeah, like what you were saying, where they bring back that animosity between those individuals is, like Real World. I think about that.
And how much, even maybe not as bad, but I'm sure a lot of that was not scripted, but to the same where you're trying to push people into certain scenarios and situations to try and cause, some kind of
from
chaos.
What I've seen research wise, like the first two, I want to say the first two were probably the most honest, and it was very much where they chose individuals of certain characteristics and traits. Like they have certain psychological personalities. It's the same as if you look at the show Friends.
Like to try and get a wide variety, or
well, so here's the thing: is in psychology, there's certain personality traits that are denoted. Like there's
archetypes.
There's like narcissism. There's schizotypical. There's all these different components in that aspect, and when you get those extremes and then you put them into a room together, something's bound to happen,
right?
Because they're all high strung on some aspect or another, and it's going to coincide with somebody else where it's just like it's going to irk them.
Well, it's like being in a room full of type A personalities, and you're just like, I just got to go somewhere.
It's just,
like, there's too much ego for this small space. I don't think I can handle it.
There's like way too much like chest bumping and bros going on right now.
I don't even know what's going on.
And that's like, so it may not be so much scripted, but it's definitely, influenced. I think that's probably the more appropriate word. But yeah, I want to say the first two were probably the most rawest, because instead of.
But what I was saying is I think even early on in those first two, that to some extent there was some, but granted, not nearly as bad as I think. I don't trust any of those shows anymore. It's all.
Well, and so that's why I think on the first two, it was more of they went after the personality traits, where in like the third or fourth and, the subsequent ones, they attempted to add that much more drama, where now it's not only just taking those personality types, but also taking those personality types, knowing that there's going to be certain individuals that'll be abrasive specifically to each other because of that. So now they're allowing those. It's no longer just like, hey, let's see what happens. It's now like, yeah, we know something's going to happen. Let's watch this.
It's like trying to build drama in a chem lab. Yeah,
in a sense, because again, they weren't just taking personality types that could possibly be abrasive, but they were looking for certain components within those individuals where it's like, yeah, they definitely know. Because I think, what is it that I want to say the third one in San Francisco was like the first like super controversial one, because you basically had I'm paraphrasing and it's not exactly specific, but you more or less had like a white and a black supremacist in a sense, where they were very much what's the word I'm looking for here, where they're like they're prideful of their past and their history and their, you know what I mean,
their own skin color.
Well, yeah, because it's not
I hate
that.
to say heritage, but
Well, in a sense, because it's not that like, hey, you're not as good as I am. Like, I'm putting you down. It's just I'm way better than everybody. So it's not a singularity of repression.
right. But in a way, how is it any different?
Correct. So then when you get the extreme that are both based within that realm of color, it's like, yeah, no, of course something's gonna happen. Come on, man. But yeah, I think that was the first one where somebody actually attacked one of the other housemates or whatever. That was like the first time they had to like
Pull two people apart and get.
No, it was like Survivor where they voted them off.
Oh, right.
They had to have like a house meeting. They're just like, we don't feel safe anymore because that was
create an unsafe environment.
Well, yeah, because that was the one that Dave Chappelle made fun of.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden it's like, like 8 or 9 black people sitting around the table and like one person like, we don't feel safe with you in the house no more. What do you mean, you people? They totally flip it around.
I wish you could vote people off,
Yeah, right. But yeah, and that's I don't know. I mean, I think that's why I really just don't like watching TV anymore, because it is scripted, whether it's verbal, written is like, hey, we're going to do this, but somehow or another it's influenced or directed, or that's what, that's why I kind of got away from that a long time ago.
I mean, there are things I enjoy. I mean, it's not that it's pretending that you're not scripted, I think is just I can't really get into that. Like it's another form of drama you're creating, like, like general hospital type,
Well, yeah. And
it's just,
it's unnatural. It's artificial.
It's more raw because it's not actually written out, but it's like, hey, you're going to get in an argument with so-and-so today. Like, that kind of stuff happens behind the cameras. The producers of this show are like, they're creating situations and like, look, you're going to have a fight with them today. It's going to happen. Like, you're going to go into the room and you're going to talk to the camera and you're going to have this whole thing where you spaz out. This is going to happen today. Oh, and by the way, here's your last week's payment. Like, does that sound terrible? But I mean, to some extent, I think that's exactly what's going on. Like, the producers of the show are trying to move it in a certain direction. They're trying to, create a certain amount of havoc. And
to me, it almost sounded like you were saying that behind the scenes, you were trying to get the actors, not the characters, to like have issues with each other. So I'm like, I have a hard time following where you're going with this. Because it's almost like, all right, listen here, Bob, your character is, but it was, to me, it was almost just like, he's talking trash on you. But like, wait, his character or him? He's like, I don't know. Maybe you should go talk to him.
I don't know. Maybe that was going on. Yeah, maybe that's exactly what was going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the soap opera stars all kind of like actually enjoy each other and hang out, because maybe that's the thing, is there's so much drama that they're portraying that when they get done, they're just like all on
no
like,
drama.
Yeah, they're just like mad decompressed.
Yeah, there's no drama here.
They're just like cracking beers and smoking cigarettes and just BSing with each other,
playing shuffleboard, hanging out.
Let's go to Starbucks! Yay! I don't know. And what do soap opera stars do? I don't hang out with any of them. Do they go to like the beach a lot or something, or
no idea? But don't you think it kind of fills that same niche though, that the soap opera kind of esque?
Well, but so to me, it's very much like the like wrestling. It's fake, but
right, there's a certain draw to it, even though like it's definitely scripted.
Oh yeah,
but that's the fun. Like who's gonna get it this week, or
yeah,
however it's gonna.
Because and there's that tension, there's that suspense, there's all those different kind of components that pulls it in, and you get that animosity that you build. So yeah, that's and again, that's why I don't think I'm really into any of that kind of stuff, because it just
doesn't seem authentic.
What's the phrase? You can't write this kind of stuff, right? So yeah, you can, and that's why it's not believable.
To some extent, yeah. It's gotten too.
Well, yeah, because now all of a sudden the person from 2 seasons ago who like had brain cancer or something had the brain transferred to a different body, and like the cancer was cured. And so now all of a sudden their brother, who's their twin from another mother, like, and then he slept with her, and it's like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, like you can write this stuff apparently.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's not believable, because you can write this.
It's just too ridiculous.
Way too ridiculous. It's absurd. It's egregious. Erroneous.
Erroneous?
Yeah.
superfluous.
I don't know how extreme can we get on this? Where it's just like I'm calling BS.
Erroneous.
Exit stage left even. Dude, what the eggs erroneous? No, that was oh god.
Ernest P. Worrell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim what the hell's his name? Jim something.
I don't even know.
Oh, I know. This is why we need a fact checker. Do again in the comments, email us something. We give high fives.
Was that Ernest Goes to Camp or something?
Dude, Ernest Goes to Jail. Ernest Saves Christmas. Dude, he had like 9 of those.
No, but eggs erroneous.
That was the camp.
That was camp, right? Yeah, that was one of the nasty food they made for the.
Because it was the mad scientist in Beaker, the big guy and the skinny guy, the one that talks and the one that doesn't talk. Yeah, those are totally those characters. They took freaking the Muppets and they're just like, we're gonna turn this into, and they did it.
I don't even know what that was. Like, it was almost like, smell-o-vision in my mind. Like, just looking at it, I was like, oh, God, that looks disgusting.
Well, yeah, because
it's all bubbling. And
I forget what the machine was, but he also had it where he just, like, started throwing stuff in. It was basically like a wood chipper for food.
Right,
and it just, like, bing, like the Enterprise, and it just made the food for you.
And it's all making all these weird bubbly noises and...
Oh, yeah. It was...
like all these colors that really shouldn't go together.
It was like the Willy Wonka machine. That made the everlasting gobstopper or whatever, right?
There you go. Oh, that's a good one, too.
What, the everlasting gobstopper?
The
everlasting gobstopper?
Yeah. That one.
What about the snozberries?
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Freaking out, man.
You are freaking out, man. Man.
Hee. Yeah, no. Ding.
Ding, fries are done.
Fries are done. Would you like an apple pie with that?
Ding.
I know. See, it's what happens. But at least when we can do that, it adds that momentary pause. It's like that pregnant silence, but we just interject, or pregnant pause. Sorry.
The pregnant silence.
Same difference. It's a very large thing that doesn't make noise. I'm just saying, that's what it sounds like.
Okay.
I mean, is that
a pregnant pause, a pregnant silence? I guess
you're pregnant.
You're pregnant. Stop.
I want your baby inside of me.
Dude, you're getting really strange. I don't know what's going on. Seriously.
What do you mean getting?
All right.
Yeah, you knew this getting into this over 30 years ago, so come on now.
Let's try to stay serious.
Let's try. You.
Let's try. I know.
You turning over a new leaf.
Come on, help me out here. Come on.
Oh, now
try to stay serious. Got to stay on somewhat of a track.
Well, I think we are. We're talking about what authentic and real is, at least within the media.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's where it seemed like we were going. That, and we need a fact checker as usual because we don't know. We just make stuff up half the time.
We're just talking.
Yeah, we're the internet. You can't believe half the stuff we say. You need to vest us as well. You got to go ahead and research.
Vet all the stuff that we're saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go ahead. Look into it. Yeah. Wiki us or something. I don't know. Maybe we exist there.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Well, that goes back to the whole thing of stop checking stats on somebody else and check out your own stats.
I don't want to check my stats.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
I think I have probably I'm pretty sure I got some good stats going on.
What are the stats you're concerned with?
I'm not concerned. I'm just curious.
What are the stats you'd focus on?
No, I just want to know.
What stats do you want to know about? What stats?
Any of them. I can care less. Do
people really like me?
You just run some numbers at me.
What numbers?
Any of them. Whip out the abacus. Let me see what you got. Yeah, I said it.
You're looking for judgment?
No.
What are your stats?
I don't care. I just want to see.
Your levels?
Yeah, dude, how many times he says well, but. Yeah, right. How many times he says right? I know.
It just keeps ticking over. And
it totally does. Yeah, it's like the electric meter. It just keeps turning and turning and turning.
Is that just the WB? Well, but.
Yeah.
Just the well, but.
Oh, yeah.
You see that ticking over?
We got the buttons. How many times you burp? All that stuff. Yeah. Dude, I guarantee you somebody's keeping track, as well as there's got to be how many quotes, not only like how many quotes, but also how many of them were actually correct.
And how many I went,
yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care what the stats are. I'm just curious to see what they are.
it'd be a whole game. That'd be fun if it was something like that. Like every time I made that noise, like you had to take a drink.
That was in an episode of How I Met Your Mother where they did the one character kept saying "but." Right. So here's the one character is a college professor, and the other character is a on-air talent doing a morning show. And I mean, this is like a 4 a.m. morning show where it's like you get like, dude, yeah, there you go, that kind of stuff. Don't spread your germs, Grossy. Plus, it makes it quiet. But so anyway, so yeah, the one character is a professor, and the other character is an on-air talent for like a 4 a.m. morning show. Like nobody watches this, right? Well, in New York, you know the drinking time is like from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. I think you're not allowed to sell alcohol. So it's like there's like a 3-hour window where there's like no sales or whatever. However, you know, if you're a college student and you can drink until 3 a.m, likelihood is you're probably going to pause, take a break, whatever, and rally again at like 6 a.m. and keep going. Or you have like, you know, an after an hour spot or something, you know, whatever. But the college kids recognized the other character, the morning show, and the two of them were hanging out, and he was just like, oh, those are my students. They're checking me out. And all of a sudden they're just like, oh my gosh, are you like, was it Robin Trabotsky? Like that was her name. And he's like, wait a minute, how do you guys know this? So all of a sudden she thought she was like super famous and was just like, dude, college kids love me, blah, 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 like all this great stuff. Come to find out, she says but all the time. And the college kids turned but into a drinking game. So she's only famous because they play a drinking game to her show. And she's thinking it's because she's like all this, that, and whatever. And it's just like, you're a drinking game. But yeah, I think that's where my mind went. And that cracks me up. I think that's hilarious.
So they tune into your show just to play but
Yeah. That's what, you know, that's why the college kids know her. You know, she has like extra 15 viewers because they're making it into a drinking game.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, which the two characters, the one that is the professor, him and another guy are like, I don't know about this. This sounds like a thing, but we got to verify ourselves. So they attempt to actually play the game one time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get bombed, wasted on like a bottle of vodka. Because that's how many times she said but that the two of them, you know, for like an hour and a half or something, go through an entire bottle together. Like that's how bad she says but
Listen to one show and I'm wasted.
Yeah. But that's, you know, kind of reminds me like how you're saying where it's, you know, yeah, I don't care what the stats are. It's like, yeah, turn this into a drinking game. Do whatever. I don't give a crap. Let's see what's up.
You just want to see your stats. All right.
Yeah, I want to see people taking the time to celebrate what we're doing. To me, that's what it is. If you're going to take the effort to create a ratio or a statistic or a number or just even research us and follow us enough to do that, dude, that's an honor.
Well,
that's a compliment.
Who am I to judge what kind of joy you pull out of the show? I mean,
I think that's a very core component to what we do because we don't know what it is that we're going to do that person's going to draw from to be that better thing, but we know that there's something in there. I mean, at least that's what's like our driving piece. I mean, I feel like that's all about the core,
the dialectic, all about keeping the conversation going.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, you get it.
And not only keep it going, but continue others, create others, and allow those to grow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inspirational. We're inspirational.
Aspiring to be inspirational.
I mean, all right, but then I'm going to say that I'm inspirational. Dude, that didn't help any.
Didn't help.
Maybe cover. Yeah, there you go.
Anyway.
Well, this is a lot better than the last couple episodes we've had because you've been like so off on tangents and equipment issues and.
I'll just.
Yeah, no, stop playing with things.
Stop touching your equipment.
Yeah, no tocas nada.
I'm right here.
Nothing. Yeah, that's
And you got to say it in Spanish.
Well, because that's how I always told my kids. I did. That was my, like we'd be in the store or whatever, and I'd be yelling down the hall because this way they know I was talking to them.
Stop playing with your dinghy.
Well, because think about this. You're out in the store or whatever, and a kid just yells, "Mom." How many women turn around?
Huh?
Even women that probably don't have kids are just like looking too. And it's like, so, you're in a store, you start yelling stuff out. When I say no tocas nada, they know it's them and they know they're touching stuff. They're like, oh, I can't play with this, man. Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah. And I don't have to yell. I merely need to speak loud enough that I know that they hear me.
You're like, wait a minute. That's my dad?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't supposed to touch us.
Dude,
Two things right off the bat. Boom. That's my dad. I ain't supposed to touch us.
Exactly. It's short and to the point. Well, I mean, I was
like, what?
I've always been a fan of counting to 3, and people are just like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, dude, but it depends. If you're just gonna like count to 3, they're just like, "Oh, they're counting to 3." If
you have to, yeah,
you have to back it up, and you do that consistently enough. After a while, all of a sudden, it's just like 1. You get halfway through saying 2, and everybody's just like, "Did you call my name? Do you need something? What's going on? Can I talk to you?" It's like you just grab their attention, and instantly, it's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, 1 or 2 traumatic experiences doing something like that, and like instantly, it's
I've never raised my hand to a child.
And you're like, you don't have to get 1.5 or none of that. It's like, boom, what? What do you want? Front and center right now.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I usually got about halfway through 2 because it was just enough time for their brain to like, recognize. They're like, wait a minute, I heard 1 and we're in the middle of 2. Oh crap! And it sets them.
Let me hurry.
Yeah, panic mode, and they're just instantly like, what can I do for you, good sir? That's what I thought you'd say.
2.5. 2 3/4.
Never had to do a 2.5. Nope. Never made it to 3. Not once.
That's good.
Yeah. But again, consistency. I feel. I mean, it's just always been my thing.
Well, there has to be repercussion, though.
What?
To some extent, right? I mean, for that to work.
Well, there needs to be, I don't want to say ultimatum. There needs to be consequence so that you can have accountability for the actions. If then this. So if you do this, this is the outcome. And if you do this, this is the other outcome.
Right. And it has to be somewhat fair.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Right.
Well, to me, it's
predictable.
Not only do you have to be consistent, but to me, at that point, you have to pick things that can allow you to be consistent. That's why I always say, I don't care what your rules are as a parent. Make sure that they're there for a reason so that when you go to enforce them, it makes sense and it makes it easier for you to enforce them.
You're like, damn it, you. Now I have to do it. Go to your room. You know? I was like, oh, yeah, I really had to do it. I pushed him to it. You know, as a parent, though, I think it's important to remember too that what you want as a parent is to be obsolete. What you want is for your kids to some extent to test the boundaries, because that's what they're supposed to do.
I express it to the end of my job is to teach my child how to figure out how to stay happy and healthy by their accounts. So whatever it is that means to them, and then to live that best life. My job is to teach them how to figure that out for themselves and do it. That's it. And also, while doing so, try to be a good human being.
So instead of getting mad, I'd be like, excuse me, does this really align with where we're trying to go?
In a sense, yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, no, it doesn't.
Well, correct. And so whenever something would happen, we would actually have a true discussion where we were on that level with each other. We could understand from a emotional, mental, physical component of what all those things are together, that it gives a true sense of understanding of that situation. You know, so I would, if there was an action that I didn't really believe in or want to have any kind of thing support it, you know, positive reinforcement, I would basically break it down. It's like, hey, let's put yourself in this person's position. If you're under these constraints, this idea, like, you know, paint the entire picture, get them to really be in that place. And
how would that make you feel?
How does that make you feel right now? And 9 times out of 10, they're just like, oh man, I feel really crappy right now. It's like, well, then how do you think they feel? Once they have that ownership or accountability in it, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to feel that way, and I don't want someone else to feel that way. They're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't have to yell. I didn't have to give him a timeout. I didn't have to threaten to beat him. Just talk to him. And that's all I've ever done.
Like a gentle reminder that, you know, everything you do has consequences.
Yeah. My big thing is accountability. That's it. That's why you just be consistent in what you do, because then it's easier to be accountable for your actions.
Because Lord knows, as kids, we didn't know all that. We thought we were invincible, right?
I mean, still am.
We thought we were invincible. We thought everything they told us was just rules, just for rules' sake. You know what I mean? Like, we never thought it was to make us safer. We just screw it. That's mom just being a tight, you know.
Yeah, you're just trying to poop on my parade right now. Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Well,
undeveloped frontal lobe talking there.
And the thing that I equate to support your statement, that I at least have found in that comparison of how I've raised my child, is when I said because, I actually gave the because. I didn't give a because
this is going to happen. And like, do you really want to go down that road? Yeah, keep asking me questions. Why?
Yeah, well, because think about that. When we were kids, our parents said because I said so. That was their because.
Right.
Yeah, you ain't God, you ain't judge, you ain't, you know. So you just tell me because I'm supposed to. So to me, because there wasn't a supporting component, because there wasn't that consistency in why. Yeah, dude, I feel that's why we would disregard it. Whereas with my daughter, I said because and what it was. And we would, even if it meant we had to have like a 20-minute conversation, a 2-hour conversation, we would sit there and talk about it. If we had to take a pause and come back to I don't care. I would find a way to make sure I expressed the because so that we could truly understand that action and what it means.
What I'm saying isn't arbitrary. Like it leads to really bad behavior, which could lead to an unhealthy life, you know, kind of thing. Like, yeah.
Which is why I say
I want to give you the full because. I'm not just going to say because I said so. It's like, because one day I'm not going to be here. Let's be honest. And I want to make sure that you can fend for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why I was, you know, my bigger point was like, my job is to help you be happy and healthy. You know, my job is to get you to understand. You know, I'm not going to.
I know you're going to stumble over stuff because I did. Lord knows I did.
And
you
there's
know
everything right with that.
Right, but it's like, you know, I've been there. I understand. Did it all.
Yeah.
You know. So you're coming from a place of love. Always trying to remind yourself, like, you're coming from, like, hey, I love the communication you have with your daughter. I think more parents need to take that. It's not easy, you know, because there's times when you have to have the difficult conversation. You have to, you know, you have to stand there and do something, even though, like, oh, that's my buddy, I want to hang out, but like, nope, I got to make a sacrifice now because I got to put my foot down.
Yeah, and to me, that's the extension of, like, I don't care what your rules are, but you need to pick them and make sure that they're there for a reason. And when you have that why behind you, the reason why you choose to have these rules, when you really know what the why is and what all the outcomes are from that, it makes it easier to do it again and again, which means it makes it easier for you to be consistent in your actions. So not only does it promote that, but in and of yourself, it also promotes it with yourself so that you can stick to your own actions, which means it makes it even easier to support it as you put it out there to them. Because my bigger thing is you typically, parents, when they have rules, when those rules come astray, like when there isn't a consistency behind it, it's because they can't enforce it well enough because they don't believe in it. Because if you truly believed in it, you'd be like, you know, I don't care how tired I am right now. I'm not going to listen to your lip anymore. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to be done with this once and for all. To me, that consistency has even a higher regard because you have to. You got to get past all that crap. You can't because it. You have to actually do it, and that's the hard part. And that's why I was like, again, you got to pick your rules for your reasons, and then it just makes it that much easier for you to stick to them, even when you're tired. Because again, consistency with the kids, man. I had very few rules. I still have very few rules. You know, the big ones I always say is like inside rules: no running, no yelling, no craziness. I don't care how old you are. You could be 1 or 100. if you're creating mad chaos inside, which is, typically a family
no craziness just kind of covers like a wide range. Like, how do you
lawyer speak?
Yeah. No, what do you mean craziness?
Yeah, I'll get down on it. Article 1. Article 1 to no, but I will, yeah.
If it potentially causes harm to yourself or other individuals within the household, or like
craziness to me
what's
is
crazy. Like, how do you define craziness?
Creating any kind of chaos within a situation. So breaking away the balance of peace and harmony within the household.
Like trying to juggle knives, or
yeah, like all right, so
causing an argument with your sister over a pair of socks, like whatever.
And instead, if we're all like sitting around the house playing like Uno and you get like an elevated tone and everybody's having fun, that's not running, that's not yelling, and that's not craziness. That's enjoyment and happiness.
Or to get loud while you're having fun is not yelling.
Of course not.
No, it's being,
You're celebrating.
You're being joyful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a joyful glee yell of happiness. I don't know. So it's elevated tone of excitement. It's not crazy.
If you can keep it there. If you can keep it there.
And to me, that becomes that thing where it's now an extension of even further. It's like, dude, now you're like adding to. Now you're being, egregious in your actions. You're being more than moderate with what you're doing. That's an issue.
Like one of the things I really struggle with trying to teach my older daughter is, it was actually one of the things that Jordan Peterson has said before that stuck with me was, winning the game isn't winning. Winning is being invited to play again.
Yeah, I love that one.
And I just, that it's so meaningful and so true. Like he makes the example that there's, you put two mice in an arena where they can play with each other, and you put one in there that's like at least 30% larger than the other one, and even though he can best him 10 times out of 10, he's gonna concede the fight every once in a while because he knows that he won't get that playtime again. He won't get invited to hang out and play again if he wins every time, because the other mouse he's going to lose interest. There's no nuance. There's no, so it's interesting that whole balance.
Yeah, there's nothing to bring him back to want to do it again.
Yeah.
He's like, well, if this is the way the party's going to be, I'm going to take my ball and go home.
And he just won't, he'll just try to avoid you and won't engage.
Yeah, and I mean, rodents and, mice and rats specifically are very intelligent in that capacity. They're very much social creatures, and while they have the hierarchies that they very much adhere to, they still have a social understanding of what it is to keep community. I mean, we can learn a lot from like watching others. This goes right back to the David Attenborough thing you brought that up, where it's like we have to understand that we're animals and that, we have just as much right as they do, and they have just as much right as we do. Well,
and that, when you think of humanity being the pinnacle in a way, I mean, that's the way I like to think of humanity being the pinnacle of in a way, like the high point of all of animal plant creation. Like that's something about the conscious mind that the human being has. It puts you in a different arena. But at the same time, it's like all of those other animals and all those other animal traits are all in a way kind of woven throughout your, I mean, science would even say in some ways woven into your DNA, but woven into your spirit, your whole, if you think we grow out of the earth just like they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think a lot of like Darwinianism kind of supports that, because it through psychology kind of dictates these occurrences or outcomes, which at some point almost becomes genetically ingrained into us because of generation after generation being able to have a greater sense of surviving, a greater percentage of chance for surviving on a grander scale for not just a few of the people in the family, but the entire family in a sense. So yeah, that's I agree with that.
My mind's going on a tangent. Sorry.
Well, and I think that's a really great component to put it to, is that, you know, it really does almost become genetic at that point. You know, it's so ingrained that, yeah, because I mean, and that's why I think when we were talking about consciousness and you felt that it was only a human thing, and I put it on that thing of like, well, what if mentally or even on a perception level, we don't have the capacity to truly understand what being conscious is. So if we don't know what that truly is, then how can we actually study it in other components, you know, other animals? And I brought up, you know, like octopi, about how intelligent they are. And we kind of got it like wrapped around and all that. And they have that level of intelligence, and they obviously have that ability to do so. Does that make them conscious? Does that, you know, allow them to be aware that they're aware?
Well, and I think, like we were saying before, and I don't know what scientist I was quoting, but the idea that anything, if you could imagine what it would be like to be that thing, that alone could be constituted a form of consciousness. You know, so if you can imagine the life of a housefly, if you can imagine what it's like to be that, you know, that in itself is a form of consciousness. I mean, you could break it down all different levels. You could say even to the molecular level, there's a consciousness of the spinning of electron around proton, around, you know, there's just the motion and the consciousness within a stone.
Well, and to me, that really goes back to the whole, we are of like space dust and also this earth. So it's like we are of the heavens and also of the ground. At even at that level of being a rock, a, you know, non-animated component thing, does it have some level of consciousness? Because technically it has matter. It has energy. It's made from all of these other things that we are. Just because it doesn't have blood pumping through it, just because it doesn't have what we would consider a brain, doesn't mean that it can't possess a consciousness, which we would associate with like the idea of a soul.
But I think most people would agree that there's a different level of consciousness when it comes to human consciousness. That there's a what did we say? Not just to be aware, but to be aware that you are aware, and to question that, and to think about it, and to think about your future, and to think about your past. That I don't think that other animals necessarily share that in the same sense that we do. And also there's something about the fact that we're capable of putting those things into words and sharing it with other people. Yep, here again, we're bringing it back around. That's the whole purpose of this, right? To continue the conversation.
And I can really see where you're coming from with that. And my thought is kind of going back to that whole thing of like, if we don't truly understand what consciousness is, so you want to say the fact of being aware that you're aware, not only that, but a further extension of actually questioning that awareness. So if we don't truly understand that, then how can we say that an octopus does or doesn't do that? Because here's the thing, just because we do it on that level doesn't mean that the octopus couldn't do it on its own level, and it would still be comparatively the same kind of an idea.
I get the argument, because we don't speak their language, how do we know their thought process? Because it's obvious when you watch their movements, and even dolphin and whales and stuff like that there's, and even elephants. Elephants have been known to revisit grave sites annually, like on their routine as they travel around their continent, you know, and things like that, you know, you realize that there's definitely a memory, and you see there's an adaptation, a learning from past experiences and stuff like that. But is that necessarily consciousness, or is it the same as the human consciousness, the ability to actually be able to break all these things down and try to comprehend them and to understand them? Do you think that's the same?
Well, see, and this is
in a dolphin or an elephant. I don't know.
Well, because what you were, and then I'm gonna go with what you were saying, which is why I agree with you in that degree, is it's not only just being aware of that you're aware, but you also question, and not so much that you question it to put it down, but you're just, a thought experiment. You're playing with the idea, which that's why I want to kind of agree with you, where consciousness is not just being aware of that you're aware, but then also the fact that you can actually question that. Again, my thought in all of that is, if we don't truly understand how we do that or why we do that, then how is it that we can attempt to understand or state what something else does or doesn't do?
Yeah, like how do you quantify? How do you figure out
right.
if an octopus doesn't concern himself with what happens next month?
Well, as well as if you think about it on a level of an animal, you really don't have to think about paying rent. You don't have to think about raising your child. There are certain instinctual components where it's like, I can just eat when I'm hungry. I can make a house when I need to. I can protect my child when I have to. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to drop you off at school. Well, they do everything within that community.
What is work, though? I mean, because if you're hunting, you're working.
Correct.
If you're taking care of your kids, you're working. If you're,
that's why I'm like, so if you take that and now
I get that. The breakdown is different because there's not a physical verbal language going on there. There's still a communication, and and I think that's what's really interesting, because we do have that too. We get that from our animal cousins. I think that ability to communicate non-verbally across all. I mean, you've seen a stranger across the room and you've been able to read their expression.
No,
you know what I mean? We're able to do that. We're capable of doing that as animals.
Yeah,
and that's something that we share with our animal cousins, absolutely. But I'm not completely convinced that that your average animal is able to concern himself with future events.
Well, and that's why I think within that idea, it's because our constraints within our environment, because we have all these different systems in place for judgment or understanding, because they don't have those same constraints, they're not going to have the same thought process. They're not going to have that same
Would you
outcome.
even recognize it as such?
And that's why I'm like, so if we're not on that level, like you were saying, put yourself in the place of being the housefly and try and think of it like that.
But how can you how can you truly do that?
Yeah. Well, so as always, I know, dude.
Yeah, every time we get in a good conversation.
Yeah, which again, I appreciate you, because we didn't let you do double noodles.
No, we didn't do double noodles.
So you're not on.
Can I get some noodles now? Now that the show is over.
Yeah, dude. As soon as we take break and we're all done, as soon as we hang up the mics and the headphones, we can get you that.
That was a good combo, man. No, I really enjoyed that.
Well, until then, you at home, we love you. We appreciate you. We would love for you to reach out to us. Let's continue that conversation. So as always, I'm telling you at directionsmusic.org. That's IMTELLINYOU at directionsmusic.org. Easiest way to email us. Send us that cool little clip of like all the different quotes. Tell us about yourself. Tell us that we're awesome. Tell us that we suck. Try to tell us that, we effed up. And fact checked us. We're all good on that.
Send us some poetry and send us a story. Maybe something that's happened to you that's affected you greatly.
Yeah, do that.
Definitely share.
Well, and so I'm Philly D.
And Mr. Gemini here.
Yeah, and this is once again another great episode of I'm Telling You.
Telling you.
Yeah, we appreciate you all coming out, listening to us. We want to listen to you. So yeah, email us, come back, check us again later. Yeah, fam, as always, be good to yourself and be good to everyone else.
Yeah, that covers it all, man. Just be good,
Yeah.
Be fair, be honest, be yourself.
Yeah, good. Then only one thing left to do. Peace.
Peace.